understanding of why we have a climate crisis. So I've been battling this project known as the CPV Valley Fracked Gas Power Plant, and as you can see here, it's built on bribes and built on lies. It's a 680 megawatt frack gas power plant, and it was built specifically to facilitate the shutdown of Indian Point. So this is 680 megawatts of dirty fracked gas, methane, the worst possible poison for the planet, the worst possible climate culprit.
Why does hardly anybody care about the largest source of clean electricity in all of New York State being shut down? The answer, of course, is because of lies of groups like Riverkeeper. Indian Point is dangerous. We don't need it. We have wind and the sun. Repeated often enough by politicians, renewable interests, big gas, and community organizers around the world, these lies are becoming a sort of pseudo-fact. Not actually true, but nobody questions them anymore.
When Indian Point 2 was closed this year and replaced by gas, the release of additional greenhouse gases wiped out the ongoing environmental gains achieved by wind and solar energy. It will be worse when Indian Point 3 closes next April. Much of the replacement electricity may come from dirty peaker plants, which would particularly be harmful if the extreme weather forces these dirty old plants to burn oil.
I want to keep Indian Point open because when they shut Indian Point down, it means they open up more natural gas burning capacity in Queens. And that means my wife, who has asthma, is at risk. That means my daughter, who is 9 years old, is at risk. My neighbors are at risk. And so Indian Point makes sense. It's a steady supply of clean power. I love renewables. I love solar. I love wind. But they are not enough at this moment in time. We need a steady, clean supply of electricity for New York City, for downstate New York, for this country, and we need nuclear power. So let's keep Indian Point open.
Yay!
Right. Right. I offer today two propositions that can be shown to be true, though they are rejected today by many environmentalists and climate change advocates. For many years I didn't believe them either. Renewable energy in the form of solar and wind sources are too widely dispersed and too weather dependent to replace fossil fuels, reliable and cost effective as the sole or even the principal source of energy of our modern society. Nuclear power can and must replace fossil fuels. It is the only energy source that can do so reliably, safely and economically. We are fortunate to have it.
The Cricket Valley Energy Center was proposed in 2009 and approved in 2012 by New York's Department of Environmental Conservation. It consumes natural gas delivered via the Iroquois pipeline. So Cricket Valley, which is an 1,100 megawatt plant, is the largest of 3 new gas power plants built or proposed in the years since Indian Point's decommissioning was announced. And it's the closest to my home. I've been fighting this plant for the past 3 years based on the environmental, health, and climate harms that it brings. The other 2 plants, CPV Valley Energy and Danskammer, are located in Wawayanda and Newburgh, respectively. CPV Valley Energy is a 630 megawatt plant, and Danskammer is a 550 megawatt plant. It's no doubt that these plants exist in order to compensate for the capacity that was lost and will be lost with the closure of Indian Point 2 and eventually Indian Point 3. Combined, these 3 plants will produce at least 8 million metric tons of CO2 each year. This is a conservative estimate. It doesn't take into account the upstream impacts of the methane these plants will burn. If that were taken into account, the global warming potential would look more like 30 million tons of CO2 equivalent.
We have zero wind in downstate New York, and solar is about 1% of total demand. We have no transmission lines, and our energy demand is about flat throughout this period. The repowering of existing plants is currently happening. Astoria Energy is building, Gowanus is building, Tank Scanner is building. These are old fossil plants that are being repowered to make up for the difference in the population dense areas of New York City, Queens, Brooklyn, elsewhere. This is the blueprint for New York State's energy policy that was spelled out, and it is being played out exactly as prophesied by Riverkeeper. There is a war going on for your mind. If you're thinking, you're winning.
If you look at energy policy in the US in the last 20 years, the greatest phenomenon that has reduced coal has been gas. So thank you, gas, but now we're at a new point where we need something else to displace gas. And that's why we think that nuclear has the reliability and efficiency of fossil fuels, but without the negative externalities like carbon emissions, but other ones also, like air pollution, land use, material intensity. So we really want to encourage anybody who is an environmentalist to get past the headlines and the slogans and the bumper stickers and really challenge yourself to look holistically at every energy source. And we think that if you do that, then you will see that we really need to have nuclear in the mix in order to have a cleaner society. So we would hope that you would support us in trying to save Indian Point in the meantime, and perhaps even expand more nuclear power plants in the future. So, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Follow the science.